Hey everybody, today I'm going to be going over my favorite way to do eggs in Pokemon Emerald. Perfect shiny eggs in Gen 3 are kind of a pain in the butt, and there's already a bunch of different resources out there on how to RNG Manip eggs in Gen 3, but there's a method that kind of recently came to my attention. Japanese Hatenaplag user Dokudenpa posted a really cool big blog post here, and I'll link it in the description. I recommend that you read the whole thing. You can just Google translate it. It's all in Japanese. Some of the stuff isn't obviously super correct, but you should be able to get the gist of it, and I'm going to go over it. But the big deal thing that I pulled from this is that you can use painting and battle video on the pickup step to land on an RNG state where every single egg method gives you the correct IVs. Normally you're kind of rolling the dice and hoping that the kind of random egg method lands on the one that you actually want. This way we can force it to. It takes a little bit more work, it's a little bit more setup, but it's by far the best way to do eggs. You're not getting trolled by hitting the wrong method over and over again like you might have been if you tried to do this a different way. So we're going to get into that a little later. Again, that'll be linked. I recommend you read the whole thing. The main reason I'm doing this is I'm going for all of the Battle Frontier symbols on this save. So I have a couple that I'm going to need to do eggs for, because a lot of Pokemon need egg moves. Yeah, so I'm going to be going for a Mudkip first. I'm going to do a couple more after that. For the record, though, I am doing all of this on my capture modded regular DS. This should work on any console. I'm going to split this video up into 3 sections. They're all going to be time-stamped. So if you already know how to do painting and battle video to get a perfect Ditto, or if you already have a perfect Ditto, you can skip to the middle part probably. But that first part, I'm going to be getting a 6 IV Ditto to be my breeding parent. The second part, I'm going to be RNGing the PID to make it shiny and make it have the correct nature. And then the third step, I'm going to be RNGing the pickup, which is where we're going to make another painting and battle video to get the correct IVs guaranteed as long as we hit our advance. That's the part that is new. If you're familiar with eggs, I would just skip to the third part or watch all the way through if you want. So before we get started, we're going to need a few things both in and out of game. For programs, I'm going to be using Gen 3 Seed Assistant by Papa Jefe, Pokefinder by Admiral Fish, Eon Timer by Das Ampharos, and 2 tools by Lincoln, the Pokenav Egg Tool and their web tool 10 Lines. Everything will be linked in the description. I'm also going to link a big RNG Links Doc that I made up. This has a ton of cool stuff, and I update it regularly with all kinds of things. It also has the Hatenaplag post that I'm basing this video off of. So go give this a look as well. In-game, you're going to need a couple different things. You're going to need the access to the Battle Frontier, so you will need to have completed the main game, and you have the Frontier Pass. You will want to have registered all of the match call trainers. This part is kind of optional. You can tick them off if you don't have all of them in Pokenav Egg Tool, but I recommend having all 84. And if you want RNG shiny eggs, you need to know what your secret ID is. I already have mine in here, but you'll need to have deduced it off of a fresh game. Usually that's how you do it, or changing it with ace glitches, but that won't be covered here. Just know what your SID is if you want shiny eggs. You'll need some super repels for tracking steps, or max repels, not super repels. You will need a Pokemon with Lightning Rod, which I'm using Rhyhorn, and a Pokemon with either Magma Armor or Flame Body. That really helps for speeding up the egg hatching. You'll also probably want some rare candies for leveling up and calking your eggs as you hatch them, because it's hard to IV calc a Pokemon that's level 1 or level 5. I guess they're level 5 in this game. I'll also be using a Sweet Center to RNG our Wild Ditto, and that's going to be the first part of the video. First, we're going to need a perfect Ditto. Here, it might also be useful to grab a 5 IV 0 attack Ditto as well, or any kind of Ditto with the correct IV combination for the hidden power you want. if you're going for that kind of specific. That's more for competitive, less so for Battle Tower. To find the Ditto we're going to go after, I'm going to minimize some of these tools here. We're going to come over to Gen 3 Wild on Pokefinder. I'm going to change this to the Desert Underpass, which is where Ditto can be found in the wild. And I'm going to set the IVs. We're going to go for a 6 IV Ditto, and we don't care what nature it is. So I'm going to check all these in 10 lines. So hopefully nothing is being blocked by my layout here. We are going to go to the initial seed tab on 10 lines. And I'm going to take these seeds and I'm going to paste them in. And I'm going to set this to Emerald Painting Seed, and I'm on DS. That part doesn't matter that much for this, but... so this first one is pretty good. What I'm mainly looking for here is not too long of a wait time, but this part doesn't matter that much. What I'm mainly looking for here is the seed in decimal, because that's the amount of time we're going to have to wait for to click on the painting. If it has a long number of advances, that's preferable for this, because we're going to need time to go make our battle video. So this one has a pretty low number of advances, so I probably wouldn't go for this, but I could go for a different one that's further away, or I could just go for a different seed. That is up to you. If you're going for something with only one result here, I would probably just take a seed that is further away in advances. For this method, I prefer a lower number in seed decimal, because that's going to be your first stage. That's your painting weight. And I don't really care if it's a higher number in advances, because we can advance pretty quickly. And with battle video, you don't need to do it all in one go anyway. So I'm going to paste this in here. This one's not that bad. I might go for this one. So this is a small number here for seed decimal, which is good, because we want a short painting weight. And then we have enough time in advances here to go and make our battle video after we confirm on seed, and we'll have enough time to kind of chip away at it a little bit. I think this is the one I'm going to go for. So this is this modest 6 IV Ditto, and we'll set up to hit that. So let me get in game. I am in Lily Cove. I'm going to go over to the contest hall. And I'm going to come over to the painting, and I will save here. And we'll get our Eon timer set up for this, and we'll get our Gen 3 Seed Assistant set up to calc it as well. So when we click on the painting here, it's going to change our seed to basically the amount of video frames that have been rendered since the game boots, the V-frame count. So we're basically going to take that, where is it, 10 lines. We're going to take this seed decimal, and actually we'll take the seed hex first, and we'll come over here to Eon Timer. Make sure you have the newer version of Eon Timer that has the custom tab. I prefer that. And we're going to paste it in seed hex. We're going to set this up. If you don't have your custom tab set up yet, you can change this from MS, Advances, or Hex. We're going to change it to Hex, and we're going to paste the seed hex there, and that is going to do the timer nice and good for us. You can convert this from hex to decimal if you want to use advances here, but it lets us put hex in, so I would rather do that. And I can wipe out my calibration here because I've had that set up for a different target. And this is our advances to our target, but we're not going to care about that part yet. We're going to need to confirm that we hit our seed. So that's pretty much all I need from 10 lines for now. I'm going to copy the seed in decimal real quick. If you want to, I'll show you an easy way to change from hex to decimal is to go over to the Windows calculator, set it to programmer, and you can take this, you take the hex number, paste it in here, and you can get the decimal number. You can do that the other way around too as well. So the reason I want to take that number is this is another thing I'm going to link in the description. I'm going to open up this file that I have. This is just the best way that I do it. My Excel skills are pretty terrible, but this is pretty much a very rudimentary hex to decimal calculation, which is how I'm going to get my list of seeds. You can technically calc inside of 10 lines, and I would recommend doing that for most things. This has a calibration section where it makes it super easy, but because we're not going for our full weight, I'm using this to just calc my painting side, which I'll explain later. I'm not going to be using the full section here, but I recommend doing that if you're doing a Ruby and Sapphire painting, or if you're doing Fire and Leaf Green. Just use 10 lines to calibrate. But for this, I'm going to be taking that decimal number, and I'm going to make this available. I'm just pasting my seed and decimal here, and it's going to give me all of the seeds that are nearby my target. So this is basically doing a hexadecimal conversion, and then changing hex to decimal here, and then adding 1. And then it's converting it back. So we'll put this into Gen 3 Seed Assistant. So I'm including A16 because that is our target, and this is the side that adds it, and over here is the side that subtracts. And I'm not including A16 again. If you do include the same seed twice, it'll come up twice in your results on Seed Assistant. So, and if you, of course, can make your own spreadsheet for this. If you're better at Excel than I am, you could probably come up with a much better way to do this. But I'll make this public, and I'll throw it in the description as well. I'll make it shared. Just make sure you make a copy of the a local copy, because I'm not going to enable edit access on this. We've got all of that in here, and we can get set up for our first attempt on the painting. What I'm going to do is I'll set this to about 3,000. And I'm going to do plus minus 299. If you set these to the same thing, Gen 3 Seed Assistant basically crashes, but you can do 299. And I'm going to set this to H2 because that's the most common method usually in Emerald. We'll check the other methods if we have issues calcing. But for now, I'm going to do the painting. Let's see. Yeah, okay. I'm holding AB Start Select. I'm going to press Start on my timer at the same time I'm holding AB Start right now. I'm going to press Select and start my timer at the same time. And we're going to get ready to click on the painting. So the amount of advances, here, again, like I mentioned earlier, is based on the V-frame count. So you don't need to worry about NPCs moving around and messing with your timing. So that only matters for the second part of the minute, which is not going to matter for us anyway, because we're just going to go lock in on seed. Once we're on seed, we're going to go to the frontier and make a video, which will save our place in the RNG. The battle video is like a save state. So I'm getting ready to press my timer here. We can look at my Mew. And then we are going to make our way to Victory Road. This second part of the timer is not that important. I like to go to Victory Road, down to the bottom half. And we're going to run in, and we're going to sweet send. So I'm going to stop the timer now. That part's not important. We're going to catch this, and we're going to calc it using Gen 3 Seed Assistant. I'm just going to throw a Master Ball. I have a ton of them duped. This is the layer on. It is a modest nature, and it is level 40. 98, 73, 126, 55, 52, 41. Enable IV ranges. Let's try the other methods. I think we hit method 1 on this, I think. I'm just going to search all of them. We hit method H1, which is totally fine, because that's about in the advances range I expected. So we hit on seed at 109. So I'm going to put 109. You can paste the hex seed right in here, and I'm going to click update, and that's going to adjust our calibration. So we're going to try again. And hopefully, if my timing is any good, we'll hit it the second time. Once we've confirmed on seed, we can go make a battle video, and that will save our place. and then we can work on chipping away the encounter advances and go get our Ditto. So I'm going to give it one more attempt here because my seed weight is nice and short. This is why I like to go for a short seed weight, because this is the part that takes a good amount of time if your timing is not so great on getting on seed here. So if you have like a 2-minute seed weight, it's kind of annoying. So we clicked on the painting. I'm going to go back to Victory Road, catch something else, and we'll calc it again. And the reason I fly to Victory Road here is because the Pokemon are high level, which makes their makes calcing their IVs very easy. And the timing at this stage is not super important. See, I'm doing it at about 2,000 advances after I click on the painting. So I just tend to search 3,000 plus minus about 2,000. So even if I'm really slow, I'm probably still going to find something that I'm still going to be able to calc. But some people like to set you can set a secondary timer here. You could set a timer for 2,000 advances, so you're actually hitting things that are pretty close to each other. But I don't think it matters that much personally. I do kind of like to keep this timer running. Let me do this first, and then I'll explain why I like to do that. And 89. It's probably method 2. A19. So we're pretty close that time. We're just a couple seeds late. I'm going to punch it in and click update again. And I'll come back at you guys when I've actually hit the seed, because it might take me a few more tries. Okay, I'm back. That took me like too many tries probably, but here I am on the seed. As you can see, I hit A16. So I'm going to leave the timer running in this case, because I just kind of want a good ballpark of where I am at with regards to my target seed, or my target advance. Being in battle advances the RNG at twice the speed, so there's no way I still have this much time, but I want to give myself a healthy amount of time to get to the battle frontier and then lose a battle. So I just want to make sure I have 3 Pokemon that can enter the frontier, which is good. So I'm going to come over here to the single battle tower. And I currently have a streak in 50, but even if I didn't, I would select open level anyway, because they can be up to level 60, and you can enter Pokemon at any level. So I can enter my really low level guys, and they'll be able to quickly lose. So when you make a battle video, it saves the RNG state exactly as it was when the battle begins. So coming up here is where the kind of checkpoint I'll be able to go back to once I lose and save the video. So what happens during the battle doesn't matter. I just want to make this go quickly, so I'm not sitting here for a while. I just need to lose. That's all you need to do to make a video. So there we go. Perfect. So it's important if you're mashing to make sure that you say yes to the prompt to record a video, because it defaults to no. You want to go up to yes and click yes. All right. So now we have our RNG state locked in. I would save at this point. I'm going to go back to Victory Road. Good Frontier theme. Always love it. Been spending a lot of time here. I just got my gold symbol at the dome. All right. So I'm gonna save. And then I'm going to throw this in here. I'm going to throw my target advance into Gen 3 Seed Assistant, and I'm going to just give myself plus minus 10,000. Just kind of a nice wide range. And I can, at this point, since I'm on seed at A16, I can wipe out all of these seeds except A16, and I know that after viewing my video, I will be on that seed. So I'm going to view my video, and I'm going to back out. And then I'm going to go right over here and click Sweet Send again. Then I'm going to catch something, and I'm going to see what advance it corresponds to, so that I can know basically how long it took me to, after catching the Pokemon, go and make the video. Kind of what my starting point is, plus a little bit, because it takes a couple seconds to get to my Sweet Scent Mon and to start the encounter. So we will calc this Golbat. Serious. It is level 38. It is 116, 68, 58, 54, 65, and 82. All right, so it looks like we're about 129. We're in somewhere in this range. An exact number does not really matter at this point. So I'm going to copy the one that's the furthest along. I'm going to bring my calculator back up. I'm going to switch back to standard. I'm going to take that, and I'm going to subtract it from our target advance. So I'm about give or take 7,000 advances away from my target. So what I can do is come over here to Eon Timer, and I could just put about 7,000 in here and try and hit my target. I'll whip this calibration out. And then I could dial it in with calibration. 7,000 advances is about a minute. I could shorten that up if I wanted to. Yeah, let me show that off. I'm just going to soft reset so I can not waste the Master Ball. So we know about where we're at. I could go and make another video after viewing this one to give myself a little bit shorter of a wait if I wanted to, which I think I'm going to do. So I'm going to fly back to the frontier. We know kind of roughly where we're at and how far away it is from our target. Oh. I did win at the Battle Dome. Yes, thank you. All right. So if you have a really long wait here, you can go into a battle, like go into a wild battle, and that advances at twice the speed. So you can take your gap that you want to shoot for and cut it in half, and then you can put it in here and wait. What I'm going to do is I have about 7,000 here. I'm going to save while I'm standing here. Oops, just in case I mess up. Then I'm going to start the timer. I'm going to advance to kind of just before I start the battle. And then... Oops, hold on. So we're doing the battle video stuff. I need to... We start the battle record, and then we're starting our timer when we press B to cancel it. And you want to do it before the battle part actually starts. Like, you want to do it early while the trainers are still sliding in. So I'm going to wait just a touch longer. And you can cut this as close as you want, but I don't want to... if you overshoot and save a new video, you'll have to start over. So by the time I get there, I'll probably have about 1 minute. Give or take. Because our RNG state is saved to this point at the beginning of our battle. So I can stop my timer. So we just need to lose again. And then I'm going to do the same thing I just did and go catch something in Victory Road to see about where we're at. And then we can probably go to the Desert Underpass and grab our Ditto. And you can't just click run to give up because it doesn't give you an opportunity to save a battle video if you forfeit. So we do need to lose. Okie doke. I'll go back to the Victory Road. I'm going to view my battle record, cancel it, and then click Sweet Scent again. And I kind of want to do this quickly so that I have a good estimate of where exactly I am. If it takes you more time to menu, you'll probably just have a more of a buffer. So we'll catch Golbat. We'll see how close this one is to our target, and then we can probably make our way over to the desert underpass. This is timid. It is level 40, 116, 71, 67, 65, 72, 97. All right, sweet. We only have one result at this point, which is pretty good. So I'm going to copy that over. We're about 3,500 away from our target, which is pretty solid. So I think I'm going to reset just to save the master ball. So I'm going to put 3653 in my target frame. And I did the subtraction the wrong way. That's why it's a negative. So I'm going to go over to the desert underpass because that is plenty. That's about 60 seconds, which is kind of where we were on our timer when I started the battle. But that's plenty close enough for me. You can cut it even closer if you want to. I would not be too risky with it if I were you, but I'm not you, so do your thing. Oops, it's not this house. I always forget where this is. That's the move relearner. It's this one. So we're going to go to the desert underpass. So I'm going to make a save. And we don't need a soft reset for this one, because we're going to be viewing our video. So I'm going to press start on my timer. At the same time, I press B to cancel the video. And I'm going to come over here and get ready to click Sweet Sent. In Gen 3 Seed Assistant, I never set the route correctly, but you can set that up if you want. The only thing that's going to be different is you might need the level to help you narrow down what you hit. So I'll change this while we're here to Desert Underpass. So I changed it to Emerald. So now the level should be correct. So in about 25 seconds, I'll click Sweet Sent. We'll catch something, and then we'll be able to actually properly calibrate. We should be kind of close, but because we didn't really do, an exact science to get here, we're going to be a little bit off. But that's where calibration comes in, and it's a little bit different with these kinds of manips because I don't know exactly where my starting point is. I kind of know roughly, so calibrating this is a little different, which I will show you. So we're just going to catch the first thing we get. We're still kind of dialing in here. It's a Ditto, but it's probably not our Ditto. This is quiet. And this level 41. And I'm going to punch in the rest of the stats. And we'll search. So we are at 19611, and our target advance is 19903. So I'm going to subtract these. So we're 292 advances early. So what I'm going to do to calc this is a little bit different. Since our target advance isn't actually what's in the Eon timer here, I'm going to take our target frame, our target advance here, and I'm going to subtract this number from it. Minus 692. I think it was 692, right? Yep. Oh, no. Sorry, 292. So 292 was the amount that we were early. So 3361 is that amount early from what our target frame actually is in here. So it's basically, our calibration is going to be totally wacky, but this should bring us a lot closer. So what I did was I took the amount that we were early and I subtracted it from what our target frame is in here. And we should be good. I'm going to reset, even though you don't technically need to. I don't have any more party space. I could just rip it again, view the video, and go. But I want to keep my party open. So we are going to... We should be quite a bit closer now on this attempt. Also, doing this bit of calibration accounts for the amount of time that Sweet Scent takes as well. So, the one we were looking for was what? 38. Could be it. Could not be it. We'll see. Again, I'm just chucking a Master Ball, but I would bring a low catch rate Pokemon and let it transform if you're trying to catch this in a regular Pokeball. Same strategy works for trying to catch Mew if you have faraway Mew. That's modest, so this might actually be our guy, but we'll calc it just to be safe. 38, 96, 47, 53, 49, 43, 50. Ooh. Is that not the right one? Yeah, I think we're one advance off, perhaps. Oh, you know what? Hold on. This is a wild one. I didn't even check the rerolls. Yeah, I'm an idiot. I didn't even check the rerolls. Hold on. Yep. All right. Foolish me. I did not check the PID rerolls. That's okay. There is a solution for this. So one thing that I should have done when I selected my target here is I should have checked the number of PID rerolls, because I actually did hit my target, but I hit it on method H1. Or I'm sorry, I was aiming for a method H1 target, which I probably shouldn't have done in the first place in Emeralds, but I actually hit method H2, which has the wrong IVs on the back end. So what I can do, and I'll post all this stuff as well, just so you guys know. I can take Mucks PID reroll calculator here, and I can throw that. I can throw this seed in here, like I have, and I can see that it has 4 PID rerolls. And if I come over to Mucks graphs, with Sweet Scent, Indoor Outdoor, Neutral Lead Ability, which is what I have, I'm basically always getting Wild 2, unless there's a huge amount of rerolls and it flips to 5, which is weird. So I'm like here, which means there's no way this is not going to be Wild 2. But if I have an egg in my lead slot, I can make this flip to Wild 1. So what I'm going to go do is I'm going to go get an egg. I could have re-prepared this whole thing with a spread that is easier to hit. Or I could probably have used Synchronize. But the fool that I am did not check any of that beforehand. I might as well leave this flub in the video because it may happen to you. Okay, I'm back. I just grabbed a random Ditto from my box and that layer on that I catch to verify my seed. So this is a random Aron egg. But by putting it in the lead of my party, I am going to have a much better chance at landing a Wild 1 spread, which is what I need to get the Ditto that I actually want. Big oversight on my part, but we were able to fix it pretty easily. So I'm going to try it once more, canceling the video and starting my timer. And I'm going to change Gen 3 Seed Assistant to H1 because that is what I'll probably be hitting with an egg lead. Oops, and I need to go down to Mawile. There's a level 38 Ditto. It may, in fact, be our target. We will catch it to see. That's modest, so that's probably our target. Let me just make sure the stats line up. 38, 96, 47, 53, 58, 53, 53. Yep, that's probably it. There we go. So now it has the correct IVs because I led with an egg. Despite that minor hiccup, we have our perfect Ditto, which will be our breeding parent. I'll probably rename him. In the meantime, I have some more prep I have to do for the eggs. I'm going to be going for a Mudkip, but I want him to have a couple egg moves, so I have to go prepare that. I have to go track down a male or a female Mudkip to chain the egg moves on. I'm going to give it Curse, which means I need a Slowpoke. So I have to boot up Leaf Green, shuffle some things around a little bit, grab a male Mudkip that knows the egg move, and then I will come back at you guys with the second part where we're going to hit the PID. Hello everyone, we're back with step 2, where we're going to RNG Manip the PID of our Pokemon when it is generated at the Daycare Man. So a couple things you're going to need for this. For this step, you're going to need Pokenav Egg Tool from Lincoln, you're going to need Eon Timer. You're going to need to be saved in-game at this specific spot. In-game, you're also going to want Max Repels for tracking your steps. You're going to want a Pokemon with Lightning Rod. And a Pokemon with Flame Body Magma Armor for hatching. And then I have my Ditto that I manipped in the first part. I changed his name. And then I have a Mudkip, which is going to be my parent, with the egg move that I want. If you're doing egg moves, remember that in Generation 3, they have to be a male to pass the egg move. So I have Curse, which is what I want to pass down. I have it far enough down in the list, so if he learns a couple moves while I'm doing this process, it won't override it. And another thing that is important is you want to have all of the match calls. You want to have all of the trainers registered. So I'm going to link this in the description, but PokemonCompletion.com has a full map of Emerald with the locations of all of the phone numbers. So this is a really good resource. I would recommend having all of these. Pokenav Egg Tool lets you indicate which ones you have, but it's most convenient to just have them all. So go spend like half an hour and grab them all. So I'm saved in this spot. I'm going to save again, just in case. And then I'll set up Pokenav Egg Tool, and then we'll kind of run through how the Manip works. So Pokenav Egg Tool has a profile. I already have one set up here, but we can go into it, and I can show you how this works. The down here, you indicate which phone numbers you have. I have all of them, so I select them all. We're using Lightning Rod, so I check that off. We have a Lati roaming, so I check that off. And then I entered my trainer ID and secret ID. If you want to manip shiny eggs, you need to know what your secret ID is. You don't need a specific combination. Usually you can find whatever PID you want. You might have a long timer or have to do a bunch of calibration, but I'll explain that later. Just need to know that you need to have your secret ID. As far as Lati roaming, I have mine roaming. If you don't know, if you have it in the Pokedex, if you have the Lati registered in the Pokedex, you can go check the area to see if it is roaming. So I know I have mine active. You can see it here. If you don't have the Pokedex entry, you're not going to be able to see where it is. But hopefully you remember if you've caught it or not on your save. That's going to change your default calibration, which is going to be important. So I'm going to set this up. So notice that the default calibration for the area that I'm going to be doing this is 20 if you don't have a roamer, or 21 if you do have a roamer. So I set this here, and since I have a roamer on my profile, it automatically adjusts this to 21. You're also going to want to know the compatibility of your two Pokemon. You can put them in the daycare and then talk to the man outside when he doesn't have an egg, and he'll tell you. I prepared this Mudkip with a different trainer ID. I actually prepared it on my Ruby save, so it has a different different OT information. So these two Pokemon would normally be don't like compatibility, so it'd be the slowest egg generation. But by prepping them on two different saves, I have them at like compatibility, which helps. Don't like means you get a lot of no eggs, which makes calibration kind of annoying. So if it's possible for you, I would recommend going for like, but it's not required. So I'll tick that off on here. we'll kind of get the egg tool set up, and then we will start with the actual process. So I have my profile selected. I have my compatibility set. I want to go for a brave-natured Swampert, because I'm doing this for Battle Palace, where the nature matters. The nature impacts how the Pokemon act in Battle Palace. So I'm going brave nature, and I'm going to go for shiny. I'm going to set the gender ratio so that the readout in here is correct. Starters are 87.5 and 12.5. And then this is where you'd indicate if you wanted a male or female. I do not care for that. And starters all have the same ability, so I don't care about ability either. But you would indicate that however you like. And then I can click generate. I have the default frame range here is a little smaller than I'd like. So I'm going to set this to 10,000. And I'm going to set the plus minus here to 30. That's not going to be important until we actually find a target. But so I'll click generate again, and I got nothing. So I'm going to increase the calibration by 1 until I get a result. I believe 28 is the first result I have here. Yep. So I'm going to be going after this one on calibration 28, and I'll explain what calibration is in a second once we get set up. But you want to go for something that is divisible by 4 and 7, or 4 and 7. But you want to go for something that is divisible by 4 and 3. The combination of 4s and 3s should be able to get you to this number. I'll explain it when we get there. So we have everything set up. It is important that our lightning rod lead is not in the first slot yet. So I just have my Mawile at first. I'll switch him in later. But now that we're saved in the spot, I'm going to use a max repel. And this will help us count our steps. And I'm going to deposit our Pokemon. I'm going to deposit Ditto first. If you're going to be doing IVs in the third step, if you care about what the IVs are of your Pokemon, you want to deposit the parent that you're going to be inheriting from first. So my IV setup that I have always takes from the first parent. So our 6 IV Ditto, that is our one we're passing the IVs from, should be the one we deposit first. It doesn't matter for this step, but it matters for the next step. So, and our Mudkip, who is male and passing the egg move that we want. And we are going to go outside and bike around until this repel wears off. If I get a match call, I'm going to go back and restart this process. It's possible you can get a call in the amount of time while you're biking around here to make the repel wear off. We don't want to get a call. You can walk around inside for most of your repel. That's a little slower, but when you're inside, you don't get phone calls. So that's something you can do. So once the repel wears off, I stopped on that text box that said the repel wore off. I have not taken any more steps. I'm going to fly to the top half of Victory Road, the Pokemon League side. And then I'm going to switch my Lightning Rod lead, I can't say that this morning, into the first spot of my party. And I'm going to save. And this is where we're going to set up to actually do the Manip. I'll explain it, and then I'll do the process here. So if when we actually start the Manip here, we're going to soft reset. We're going to run down 9 steps, and now we're 1 step away from potentially triggering both an egg and a phone call. So at this point, we would do our calibration, which is kind of tricky to explain. If you're confused by this, I would recommend checking out some other videos on how to do Emerald eggs. This PID step is kind of the most weird and finicky, in my opinion. But basically what calibration is we have a default value that we're starting at, which is 21. Let me get my calculator out. We're starting at 21. And that is what the base calibration is for this area, plus having a roamer active. If you don't have a roamer active, you start at 20. The profile defaults to that, or the tool defaults to that. So with a roamer active, we start at 21. By redrawing the map, by going into a deep menu here, like the bag here, and backing out, it adds 3 calibration. So now we're up to 24 because I entered the menu, entered the bag, and then backed out of the bag. If you enter the bag and you back out, and then you back all the way out, that is plus 4. So we add 4, which brings us to 28. So on my attempt, we'll come over here. On my attempt, I'm going to run down 9 steps, pause, enter the bag, close the bag, enter the bag again, close the bag, and then on our timer, I'm going to close the menu. So that'll be 3 calibration, plus 4 calibration for a total of 28. If you have a number that's higher, just figure out what combination of 3s and 4s gets you to your target. Start at 20 or 21, depending on your rummer status, and add 3 or 4 until you get to your total. This part can be a little annoying, can be a little tricky, but I'll show you how to calc this and what to do if you get stuff that doesn't make any sense. So we are good to start here. I think I'm going to right-click this in Pokenav Egg Tool and click Set Target Frame. So it's going to push that number up to this target frame box. Then if I push the up arrow, it's going to output it to the frame range filters. So now I can uncheck my filters that I have. And it's going to give me a big list here. I changed this plus minus to 30 so I can have a little bit larger of a range. I am doing this with no calibration, so I could probably hit further than 15 off. So this is what our shiny is going to be. And we're hoping that Pokemon Ranger Catherine calls us. There's a bunch of other callers, and so when we get a call that is one of these, we're going to use it to calibrate. It also tells us what the egg is if we go and hatch it to check. So I'm going to rip this attempt, and then I'll show you how we calc this. So I'm going to press A, B, start, select. I'm going to press select and start timer at the same time. Oh, I forgot to actually enter my target frame. 1 second. 6065 is our target advance, which is about 100 seconds. So I'm going to do another reset and start the timer. So I'm going to mash through. I'm going to do nine steps downward. And I'm going to open the bag. That's plus 3 calibration. I'm going to open the bag. That's plus 3, and it will be plus 4 when we close the menu. So anytime you open the bag and then fully close out, it'll be 4. So the minimum you can do is 4 if you're opening the bag and closing the menu. But every bag you check without backing all the way out is an additional 3. So we should be on 28 calibration. All I have to do now is wait till my timer runs out. I'm going to hold the down button on my D-pad, and I'm going to press B with the timer so that I automatically run downward when the timer runs out. We're kind of buffering our down. And then we will either get a phone call or no phone call. Either way, we're going to go check with the daycare man to see if he has an egg. Because some of these are phone call with no egg, some of these are no call with an egg, and some of them are no call and no egg. No call, no egg, you basically can't calibrate off of, in my experience, unless you really know where you're close to already. But we'll see what we hit. I should probably hit probably a good amount early with no calibration. So, getting ready for the timer. So we got a call. This is Caitlin. Caitlin is either a modest egg or no egg. So I'm going to fly back to Mauville. I'm going to check to see if there is an egg. So I got Caitlin no egg, which I would say I've already kind of looked around here. These are the only 2 Caitlin calls that I have that are nearby, and I usually hit early without calibration. So I'm pretty confident I hit 6047, and my target is 6065. So I'm going to punch that in as my frame hit and click update, and it's going to update my calibration to about 300. One thing that I would do if you get a call or you get no call but he has an egg, I would take the egg and hatch it and see if the ability, nature, and gender all match what you're looking for in that row. So if I had been one advance earlier, I would have had a modest egg from this guy that corresponded to this advance, and that would be how you check. So I didn't hit an egg this time, so I can't show that off. But if he has an egg, I would always go pick it up and hatch it to help calibrate. It's a little tedious. Hatching eggs are not super fast in this game, but we'll just run another attempt here. So into the bag, out of the bag, into the bag, out of the bag. And now when I leave the menu, it'll add one more. And we'll be at 28. And hopefully we hit pretty close. After my target, kind of late here, is a lot of no calls. So if I get a no call here, I'm going to go over to Mauville and check anyway to see if he has an egg, because there's 3 no calls with an egg. So if I get no call, I can fly over there and see if he has an egg for me, and then I can hatch it to see exactly which one of these I hit. And if you end up getting a result that doesn't make much sense, I would check the calibrations both before and after to see if you accidentally did something wrong with your menuing, or maybe you had a roamer and you didn't think you did. There's a lot of things that can kind of mess with your calibration. So I would just troubleshoot your process, make sure you did it like I did. Because on my, we'll see if it happens here, but on some practice attempts for this, I was getting 29 calibration because I was being a little bit sloppy with my inputs. So I ended up getting the correct call, but it was the wrong egg. So I'm holding down again. I'm going to press B when the timer runs out. So that was no egg. Or sorry, that was no call. My timing was a little wonky there, but I'm going to go check to see if there's an egg. I was mid-sentence when I pushed B, so maybe I'm not. All right, so he has an egg. So I'm going to hatch this, and I'll come back at you. Hopefully it is relaxed, hardy, or serious. I could have been way off, and it could be down here, but we'll see. So I'll come back at you guys in a couple seconds when I have this egg hatched. All right, I am hatching my egg. I'm going to check the nature and see which one of these no calls it corresponded to. Hardy. So this was no call here. 6067. So I'm going to punch that in and update my calibration, and we're going to give it another go. So we're looking for Pokemon Ranger Catherine to call us. When she does, we're still gonna check to make sure that we hit the correct egg, but we'll pretty much have hit this part. So again, I'm doing 2 bags. This calibration step is super weird. I don't fully understand it myself, but I know enough to get a proper egg. And there's an early game setup for this. I'll link the page on PokemonRNG.com. If you're interested. I think it's a lot less convenient because you can't do perfect IVs that easily. You can't do a good amount of stuff without post game. But if you want to do this, you can technically do Egg RNG as soon as you get to Mauville. But up to you if you want to try that. I'll link Zach's guide. Slightly different setup, different calibration because they do it at Verdant Turf. All right, holding down again, getting ready to cancel. There's Catherine's phone call. Excellent. So I'm going to fly to Mauville. I'm going to fly to Mauville and make sure that he has an egg for us. He does not have an egg for us. That's bad. All right, I don't know what I did wrong there. I don't think there's Catherine no egg anywhere on here. I'm not sure why I got that. We'll try again, I guess. There's Catherine's call. Let's see if the man has an egg for us. He does. Excellent. All right. So I got the correct call, and the man has an egg. So I'm going to save in front of the daycare man. We're going to pick it up. We're going to hatch it, and we're going to see if it corresponds to our guy here. He should be shiny. Oh, I didn't pick it up. Hold on. So when you pick up the egg from the daycare man, that's when the IVs are set. So we're not totally done yet, which is why it was saved first. If this is the correct guy, and I didn't mess anything up, it will be shiny, and it will have the correct nature, gender, and ability. And then I will reset, and we can manip the IVs in the final part. All right, my egg is hatching. We want a shiny. Excellent. So I'm going to check that this guy has the correct nature. Brave. And it still has the egg move I want, right? Excellent. So I'm going to reset the game. We've got this shiny PID locked in now. And we can move on to RNGing the IVs. So that'll be the final step. And I'll come back at you guys when I'm all set up for that. Hey everybody, we're back with the third and final part, where we're going to RNG the IVs of our egg. We already have the PID locked in at the daycare man, and the last step we saved in front of him, and we checked to make sure that our egg had the right shininess, nature, ability, and gender. Now we're going to RNG the IVs. On Dokudenpa's Satana blog here, the thing that I've been kind of following for this whole video, they mention a painting seed over here, which is going to produce the IVs we want across all three of the egg methods. This is the kind of cool thing, because in Gen 3 eggs, there's three methods: normal, split, and alternate, and you don't have a great amount of control over them. So by aiming for an advance that has the IVs we want on all three, we don't have to worry about that. We just have to worry about hitting our advance. It takes a little bit of setup, but once we have this battle video set up, we can use this on any number of eggs we want. So the one that I'm going to be grabbing is the 6 IV one, but this also works for 5 IV 0 attack, grass hidden power, electric, a few others. It inherits the attack, special attack, and special defense from your A parent. So if you put Ditto in first, that's your A parent, and the IVs will be inherited from there. So if you have a Ditto with 5 IVs, 0 attack, it would also work with this advance. So it's very flexible. It's probably the best one to go for. They mention here that this is a good battle video seed for your main save, and I agree. I'm going to use this for all the rest of my eggs as well. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to hit this painting seed. It's pretty much going to be like the process we use for Ditto. I'm going to hit this painting seed. I'm going to hit these advances. And then we're going to claim the egg. We're going to need to do a little bit of hatching and calibration. But first things first, let's get this set up. So the painting seed here, I'm going to throw into seed hex. We already have a little bit of calibration from when we did Ditto. If you haven't done one of these, you can wipe it out and calibrate fresh. I'm going to leave that in, see what happens. I'll wipe it out, see how close we are. And then I'm going to take the advances and paste them down here. And I'm going to take my calculator and programmer mode, take the seed, convert it to decimal, And I'm going to throw it in my spreadsheet over here. I actually already did that, but we're going to get Gen 3 Seed Assistant set up. So I'm doing this pretty much just like I did Ditto at the beginning. So this part I'm going to breeze through a little bit just to get set up. First, we're going to hit the seed we want. And then we are going to go for... then we're going to chip away at the advances and then come over here and talk to the guy. So I just threw the list of seeds down here. And I'm going to go fly over to Lily Cove. Then we're going to click on the painting. This painting timer is a little bit longer than the one I've had for Ditto, so... Oop, we also got a call. I still have my lightning rod lead in the front. Oops. I meant to switch him. I'm just going to switch my lead out so I don't keep getting phone calls. So we'll go get set up in front of the painting. I'm going to save. Okay. And we will do our thing here. So again, soft reset and start my timer. Yeah, this one I have quite a few minutes before my timer. So I'm going to edit around this. This is pretty much the same process as the first part of the video, so you should be familiar with it. All right, let's calc this bad boy. Gentle, level 40, oops, 172, 112, 53, 48, 68, 51. Taking some time here. All right, we were just a bit late on the first hit, so I'm going to toss this into there and update. And we'll give it another go. I'll trust that you guys picked up the process. If not, you can watch the first part. I'm basically going to keep doing this until I'm on seed. Then we'll go make a battle video. All right, that's on seed. Excellent. All right, excellent. We have lost. Took me a couple turns because coughing couldn't KO my level 20 or something Rhyhorn. All right, we'll say yes to the recording the video. And then I'm going to go to the PC real quick, and then we'll fly back to Victory Road. I'm going to release Whisper just so that it is not in my way. And then I don't need my Lightning Rod lead anymore, so I'm going to dump Rhyhorn in the box. See if I have somewhere to put him. I'm going to switch him out for something low level because I'm going to need to go back into the frontier and lose. So I'm going to keep my Magma Armor Pokemon, but I'll keep these two guys here just to lose a little bit faster. All right, so I can get rid of this timer here now. So I'm going to go back to Victory Road. We can wipe out all these other seeds because now we're permanently on our target seed. And I'm going to set this search range pretty darn wide. I'm going to put my target advance in here, and I'm just going to go like... I'm going to go plus minus like 25k. And hopefully that doesn't make this thing lag. We're only searching one seed, so it probably shouldn't. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to view my battle video. All right, actually, let me do that again. I was a little slow on the draw there. I want to be a little quick with this, just so I know kind of where I'm at roughly. And then I will click on Sweet Scent. We're going to catch this, and then I'm going to, then I'll have an idea of kind of roughly where we are. I'll subtract that from my target, and we'll set a second timer to see kind of if we can close the gap. I have a ton of Master Balls, but I am also leading with a False Swipe Pokemon, so if you don't do as much as I do, you could just False Swipe one of these guys and then throw a Great Ball. As long as it doesn't take too long in battle, you should probably still be pretty good if you have a tight timing you're working towards. So our target is 71600. I'm going to subtract 12,000. That leaves us at about 60,000 advances where we want to get closer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that and I'm going to subtract 5,000 because that's kind of a sweet spot. It's a good place to be here. If you look, I have 5,000 is about a minute and a half, a little more than that. So that'll give me plenty of time, and it'll take me time to go get to the frontier, so it'll be a little bit less than that. It'll be closer. So that leaves us with a remainder of about 54K. I'm going to cut that in half, and that is about 27. So I'm going to go over to the Gen 3 tab. I'm going to clear my calibration out for this, and I'm going to put 27251 in here. And the reason that I cut it in half is because I'm going to be doing most of this weight while I'm in a battle, which does double speed for advances. Very handy. So I'm going to get rid of this Golbat. I should have just saved and reset the game, but I didn't. And so at double speed, if we wait about 27K advances, which is going to be about 7 minutes, at double speed, we'll be close to about 50,000, and then we'll go to the frontier, make another video, and then we'll check where we're at. We might fine-tune it from there even more. So I'm going to watch the video. I'm going to start this timer. It won't be exactly double speed because it's going to take me a couple seconds to get into a battle, but... but that's okay. That being a little bit less than we've estimated is not bad because it'll give us a buffer zone. So, because we're going to need time to go get to the frontier and make another video. So, I'm going to sit here and hover over run until my timer is just about up. Then I'm going to run, go back to the frontier, and make another video. So, I'll see you guys then. All right. I've got a couple seconds left. I'm going to run from the battle early here just to be even safer. And we're going to fly over to the frontier. So we are going to very quickly, or as quickly as we can, pick our 3 Pokemon. Save. And the battle has started. So I'm going to lose real quick. We'll make another video and we'll see where we're at. Now that we're back in Victory Road, let's watch our battle video, Sweet Scent, and then catch something and see where we're at. Hopefully we're pretty darn close. If we're still further away than we want to be, we can go make another video. Let's see. About 677. So where does that compare to our target advance? Yeah, so we're about 3K off, 4K off. I'll leave it at that. If you undershot by a little more, you might want to go remake another video real quick with a short timer. And for that, I would just go stand in front of the frontier person, save, enter everybody, and get to the text box right before the battle, and then do your wait. So then all you need to do is clear the text box and start the battle to be on the advance that you want, or closer to your advance. But about 4K off is perfect. Okay, now that we got our battle video in a good spot, we can start picking up some eggs. What I have with me here, I have Eon Timer, of course, with the frame range, the kind of target advance range that we guesstimated based on our Victory Road capture. I have Marriland's Pokemon IV calculator. You can use any online one for this. And I also have 3 Gen Search. I'll throw a link to this in the description. This program makes it a little bit easier to search for your egg IV hits on pickup. The way that Pokefinder does it, which I'll pull it up. The way that Pokefinder does it is it does the held and the pickup all in one go. So you can't easily just search for held, just held or just pickup. This frame range that I'm going for here, since I'm using a battle video, is huge too. It was crashing the program trying to use it, so I just decided to jump to 3 Gen Search. If you can manage to make this work with Pokefinder, you're welcome to use it. I think it's a little bit easier here. And then one thing I had forgotten about in the previous section is that it is important to know the IVs of your second parent as well, so you can narrow down what you hit here. Because sometimes the second Pokemon is going to have the inherited IVs, so you need to know what those are. After you pick up your egg here, you can go pick up your parent and use the same process to determine the IVs if you don't already know them. I have them set aside, but it's a good thing to have already done, so I'm sorry if you're following along and you missed that. But what we're going to do here is we're going to get ready to view our video, and we're going to start our timer. So I'm going to view the video and cancel out while starting my timer. And then we need to make sure that we're not out of the menu for too long because there's NPCs around here that walk around. So I'm going to close the menu and talk to the guy quickly. And then we're going to go through his dialogue. And we're going to wait on the text box where he says, take good care of it. And that's when the egg gets generated. So we're going to hang out for another 40 seconds. I'm going to claim the egg. And then we're going to bike around and hatch it. And then we're going to start calcing the IVs. And then we're going to use Gen 3 search to see where we landed so we can calibrate. There's a way to do this with match calls as well using the Den Egg Tool. It's explained in this blog post that I've been talking about here from Dokudenpa. So if you're interested in trying that, go ahead and look it up. It can help you save a few hatches of eggs while you're calibrating. I haven't messed with it, so I'm not going to do it on this one, but you're welcome to try it. So here we go. So we've picked up the egg. I'm going to hatch it. Oh, I got a call. I'm going to hatch, and then I'm going to get set up to do the IV calc. Another thing you're going to need for this is a good amount of rare candies. I have about 25. There's very easy dupe glitches in this game. You can level them up manually, but when they get experience, they get EVs. And so you're going to have to find an IV calculator that takes EVs into account and track them if you want to level them up through battles. I'm going to get my Mudkip up to about level 25 to really narrow down the IVs. So it's good to have a good amount of rare candies. So I'll see you when he hatches. All right, our egg is hatching. It's going to still be shiny because we already manipped the PID. But we're going to need to check the IVs. And to do that, we're going to need to level it up. So I am going to stuff probably all 23 of these rare candies in to this Mudkip. I'm going to let it evolve because this Marriland IV calc lets me just put Marshtomp in here. So I should just be able to... Yeah. So I'm going to let it evolve. Getting higher stats makes the IVs easier to figure out anyway, so... It's probably overkill to bring it up to like 25, but because you can narrow the IVs down to a range. 3 Gen Tool lets us just put it in a range. So you don't need to be exact, but we will just for ease of calcing here on this first one. Another great thing that Gen 3 search lets us do is it lets us search all 3 egg methods at the same time. So we won't need to make 3 individual searches like you'd have to do in Pokefinder. So the generation is going to be Gen 3. I got to switch that. It's going to be a Brave Natured. And it is 20, 62, 44, 36, 31, 34, 27. Calculate. I'll give it another level. Okay, level 21. It has 65, 46, 37, 32, 35, 28. That narrows it quite a bit. I'm gonna do one more level. I'll do 2 more levels because I have the rare candies for it. 23, 70, 49, 40, 35, 38, 31. All right, I think that's good enough of a range. So what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to throw in my filters on 3 Gen search. So I'm going to cover the game for a second. We have our first parent, which is our Ditto, so all our IVs are 31. I need to put in the IVs for my second parent, and if you don't know them, you can just do the same thing I just did, but with the parent, you can take them out at this point because we're not saving. But it helps to know that going in. I'll probably throw something in the preamble at the beginning of the video to remind people of that because I forgot to mention it in the PID section. So those are my Mudkip's IVs, the second parent. Then we're going to set the advances range here, which we want to set on either end of the big number. This is the amount of advances from Seed 0, from the beginning of the game's RNG. So I'm going to post that into this box here, and I'm going to set the advances range to about 1,000. And I'm going to push the up arrow, and it's going to set the filters to plus minus 1,000. I'm going to check all 3 egg methods. Then I'm going to set the species as Mudkip, which is this is organized by Pokedex numbers. It might be a little tough to find. Let's see what I can do. I'm going to start from the bottom because that's the end of Gen 3, and I'm going to scroll up. I'm looking for those 3 lines. I believe it's that one. Yep, that looks right. And now I'm going to punch in the IV ranges that we have. 22, 24, 7 to 8, 15 to 16, 11 to 13, 5 to 7, and 31. And I'll click search. And we only have 1 result, which is great. So that's what we hit. It looks like it's a big number, so I'm just going to use the calculator here. Let's see. I'm going to take that minus our target, which is this. So it looks like we're about 500 or so early. So I did the order of operations the wrong way. That's why it's negative, but I'll just add it to our target. So we hit 3286. And I will click update. And that's going to give us that kind of huge janky calibration, but we should be good to go to give that another shot. So I'm going to reset the game, get back in position, and we should be we should be in good shape to give it another shot. Our next one should be pretty close. Oops, not Pokenav. Oop. This part's a little tedious because you're going to need to hatch the eggs every time. I'm going to back out and start my timer. Make sure that I don't spend any time with it unpaused here. And I'm going to sit on this screen until my timer runs out, and hopefully we're a good amount closer. All right, we got the egg. I will come back at you guys after I've hatched it and after I have calced the IVs. All right, I have hatched it, and I've leveled it up to about 26. I'm going to punch in the new stats here. We're looking at 30 to 31. We're looking at 7 to 9. We're looking at 8 to 9. We're looking at 30 to 31. 20 to 21. And 17 to 19. Okay, and that should be good. We can punch that in and calc it. Minus our target. Let's see how far off we were. We're 2 advances off. So I think that means we were two advances late. So it would be 3,882. I'm adjusting by 2 just to see, but I think I'm pretty dialed in at this point. One thing that I mentioned earlier, but I just realized that Marriland does in fact have an input EVs section. If you check this little tick box, you can enter the EVs. So if you don't have a ton of rare candies, you can level them using wild Pokemon. Just make sure you're tracking the EVs. You could probably switch train Marshtomp in the Victory Road and get them up to level 25 pretty quickly. Just make sure you track the EVs. So I'm going to give it another go. I'll probably come back when I've hit my target, because at this point I'm pretty dialed in. So I'll see you guys in a bit. All right. It took me a little while of going back and forth, +1, -1. But it looks like we've hit our target. I'll throw all these IVs into the filters here just to check. There's probably no false positives that are this good, but I will try anyway just in case. 30, 31, 30, 31, and speed is 31, 31. Yep. So there you guys, you can see we've got all 6 IVs, perfect. And you can see that in red here, it is only inheriting from parent 1, which is our Ditto, which is what we wanted. So we've got our perfect 6 IV egg with the right gender, nature, ability, shininess, and the egg move we wanted. Curse. So I've got the exact guy that I was looking for here. Not too bad. The process of hatching and calking takes a good amount of time, and you need a good amount of rare candies to speed it up as well. But ultimately, not that bad. I think that this is a great way to print out a bunch of eggs, because the cool part about saving a battle video means that we've got this anytime we need it. So I would set aside your timer for this. I would take your target advance and your calibration and then write it down, maybe in a notepad or something. And I would keep that handy and hold on to this battle video as long as you can, because you can do this for the IVs on as many eggs as you want. So you can basically repeat step 1 and 2 of this video to do as many of these as you want. Now that you've got all the setup done, it should be a lot easier the second time. So I'm going to use this to grab a bunch more guys. I'm going to use to get the rest of my gold symbols. I need Snorlax, I need Blissey, I need Gengar. I need a couple more guys with egg moves. So that's what I'll be doing. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope it was easy enough to follow. Let me know if you have any questions. I will put it in the description or flash it on the screen or something, but I do have a Discord now if you're interested in chatting with me or chatting with other folks who like my stuff. So give that a look. Once again, all the resources should be down there. And give me a like, give me a sub, do all that cool stuff. It's been a while since I've made a video, so I hope you're still sticking around. I hope you're having a good new year. So take it easy.